Okay. Good morning, friends. Let's begin with the actual topic, right? So we started the fourth module, right? Fourth module we have started already. Uh, in the fourth module, characteristics and the quality attributes of embedded systems we discussed. Operational quality attributes, non-operational quality attributes, embedded systems, application and domain specific, hardware, software, code design. Okay, so let's begin with this. Up to here, embedded system, application, the domain specific we discussed. And the next part is hardware, software, code design, and the program modeling. Okay, that comes in chapter 7, only 7.1 and 7.2, right? Yes. So let's discuss. Okay, so here, hardware, software, code design. Nothing but how like hardware engineer will design the hardware part of the embedded computing system, right? And how the software engineer will design the required software for the embedded computing system. So we'll discuss that in chapter number 7, right? Yes. uh, okay, let's begin. Okay. uh, Hardware, software, code design, and program modeling, right? Yes. So, in the traditional embedded system development approach, the hardware software partitioning is done at an early stage, and engineers from the software group take care of the software architecture development and implementation, whereas engineers from hardware group are responsible for building the hardware required for the product. So in the traditional embedded system design or the development procedure, right, at the beginning only, hardware and the software are bifurcated. Okay, so what are all the different components of hardware we need to design, and what are the different uh, softwares to be written for those hardware units or the parts. Okay, that is decided at the beginning only. Later, the engineers, the respective engineers, hardware engineers for hardware part and software engineers for software part, will work on that and develop a model or develop an embedded system, right? So this is the procedure. There is less interaction between there is there is less interaction between two teams, and the development happens either serially or in parallel. So he says the interaction between those two teams, like hardware and the software, is very less, and they happen either, that is a development may happen either serially or in parallel. Serially ಅಂದ್ರೆ first hardware ನ develop ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತಾರೆ, then they dump the software part, or they develop the software, then develop the hardware. That is in the serial manner, one by one, but are in parallel. Nothing but both hardware and softwares are developed and in parallel, or simultaneously they are developed. So this is the point. Once hardware and software are ready, the integration is performed. So software and hardware ready adaga, they go for the integration. The increased competition in the commercial market and need for reduced time to market, the product calls for a novel approach for embedded system design. Here the novel approach is nothing but the new approach, keep in mind. So increased competition, because the same product can be manufactured by different vendors or different company. Okay, so there is a competition in the commercial market and need for reduced time to market, like how fast they can release the product to the market. Okay, so these are the two important aspects that will directly affect to find a novel approach, a new approach for embedded system design, right? Yes. So here the first point under that particular concept is fundamental issues in hardware, software, code design. What are the fundamental issues? Yes, the fundamental issues like selecting the model, the kind of model we need to select, again the selecting the architecture, which architecture we supposed to use, selecting the language, which language, whether it is assembly language or machine level language, or it is some high level language or embedded C and all. Okay, like that. That is the language problem. Partitioning system requirements into hardware and the system, like how do we partition or how do we bifurcate the system into hardware and the software, which are all the software part and which are the hardware part. Okay, so these are the issues. So one by one we'll select we'll go selecting the model. In hardware software co-design, models are used for capturing and describing the system characteristics. Yes, so these models are very important in order to describe the system characteristics. A model is a system or a formal system consisting of subjects and composition rules. So this is a simple definition of the model that consists objects and composition rules. It is hard to make a decision on which model should be followed in a particular system design. Okay, so he says again it is very difficult to follow a particular system design because he says at a specification stage. So in any project development or in any product development, there are different stages. Okay, first we have the introduction of that particular product. Next we have the brief history of that is existing system, and what is the uh, new features you are going to introduce, right? Next is about the study of the uh, previous product. Next is the development and the system specification, and the last one is the implementation aspect. So here he has taken the two specific part, like specification stage and the implementation aspect. Okay, so here he's giving some difference, right? Because they cannot follow a single module from the beginning till the end, right? So he has given an example. At the specification stage, only the functionality of the system is in focus. Okay, during the specification stage, functionality of the system ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನೇನ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ, right? That is the main focus, not the implementation formation. ಅದು ಹೆಂಗೆ ನಾವು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್. When the design moves to the implementation aspect, ಅಂದ್ರೆ implementation ಮಾಡುವಾಗ the information about the system component is revealed and the designer has to switch to a model capable of capturing the system structure. So ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, the designer will switch from one model to another model. So ಅವಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, so we cannot maintain a same model from beginning to the end of the product design. So because specification stage ಅಲ್ಲಿ one model ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ the focus ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, it is focused only on the functionality, not on the implementation. But during the implementation the focus will shift. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? Where system component is revealed, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಏನಂತ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ರಿವೀಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅವಾಗ ಒಂದೇ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ನಾವು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, right? Yes. Next, coming to the selecting the architecture. So architecture, already we know that there are different types of architecture. In microcontroller, von Neumann architecture, Harvard architecture, right? Right. So we have discussed already von Neumann architecture. Harvard architecture, again the RISC architecture, CIS architecture, VLIW, very long instruction word capturing, again the single instruction, multiple data, again multiple instruction, multiple data. These are the two architecture you're going to study in advanced computer architecture, ACA, in 7th semester, right? So selecting the architecture, the concept, a model only captures the system characteristics and does not provide information how the system can be manufactured. ಅವನೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, model can give only the system characteristics, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಏನೇನ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಏನೇನ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಮಾತ್ರ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಸೇ ಹೌ ಟು ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ದಟ್, how the system can be manufactured. System ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ, right? So that's what we go for the architecture. The architecture specifies how a system is going to implement in terms of the number and types of different components and the interconnection among them. So already we have discussed the architecture. The architecture will give a beautiful view on the components, how they are interconnected and how they're going to be implemented, right? So and how they can execute the things, right? So that's what the architecture selection is very, very important. Next, there are different types of architecture like controller architecture, data path architecture, complex instruction, that is a CISC, reduced instruction, that is a RISC, very long instruction word computing, VLIW. Okay, these are the different architectures that are used in the embedded system design process. Some of them fail into the application specific architecture calls, that is ASAC, and while others fall into either general purpose architecture class or the parallel processing class. Okay, so he says some of them fall into the application specific. Okay, they fall into the application specific architecture class. Application specific, nothing but embedded system only. Okay, keep in mind. So and while others fall like a controller architecture, that is microcontroller architecture, while others fall into either a general purpose architecture class or parallel processing class. General purpose RISC is where we use in the microprocessors, and parallel processing like VLIW, and next is the SIMD and the MIMD, right? So this is with respect to the architecture. Next, the control architecture implements the finite state machine model, that is FSM. We are going to discuss, or you are going to study a subject called finite states automata in for fifth semester, right? The control architecture implements the finite state machine model, right? Where you can discuss, where you can study the changes in the state or transition from one state to the another state using a state register and two combinational circuits. The state register holds the present state, and the combinational circuit implement the logic for next state and the output. So that is with respect to the controller architecture. Next, data path architecture is best suited for implementing the data flow graph model, where the output is generated as a result of a set of predefined computations on the input data. So that is with respect to the data path architecture. So the output is always designed by the kind of inputs we use. That's what the name data path architecture. A data path represents a channel between the input and the output. Yes, certainly, right? It's a path between the input and the output. In data path architecture, the data path may contain registers, counters, register files, memories, and ports, along with high-speed arithmetic units. Ports connect ports connect the data path to multiple buses. Okay, so these are the different components present in the controller architecture. Next, the finite state machine data path architecture combines the controller architecture with the data path architecture. So what it does, the finite states machine data path, it combines both control architecture and the data path architecture. It implements a controller with the data path, that is a FSMD. The controller generates the control input, whereas the data path process the data. The data path contains two types of IO ports, out of which one acts as the control port for receiving or sending the control signals from or to the control unit, and the second one is second IO port interfaces the data path with external world for data input and data output. Okay, so these are simple English statements you can easily understand, right? Next, complex instruction set computing, CISC architecture, uses an instruction set representing complex operations, right? It is possible for a CISC instruction set to perform a large complex operation with a single instruction. So he says in the CISC, using a single instruction, we can perform the large complex operations, right? Nothing but using the same one, multiple operations can be done. So we discussed the same in uh, theory in the first module also. The use of a single complex instruction in place of multiple simple instructions greatly reduces the program memory access and program memory size requirements. So that is the advantage of this. Okay, instead of using multiple instructions to perform a single operation, a single task. So what they do in the complex instruction set computing, there is a CISC. So they use one single instruction that can perform the large complex operation. However, it requires additional silicon for implementing microcode decoder for decoding the CISC instruction. So microprogramming we discussed in CO, right? So that's a kind of CISC where in order to execute a particular instruction, again some codes are written, right? So they get executed in the processor. So there is a microprogramming concept what we discussed in the CO. The data path for the CISC operation is complex. Okay, here is just the complex. It has got very complex data path, right? Yes. Next, RISC. The reduced instruction set computing architecture reuse instruction set representing simple operations, and it requires the execution of multiple RISC instructions to perform a complex operation. ಅವಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. So a single instruction cannot be done, right? Cannot be used to execute a complex program or the operation. But here simple instructions are used and repeatedly they can be used, right? The data path of RISC architecture contains a large register file for storing the operands and output. Okay, so here the data path architecture what we discussed earlier. The data path of RISC architecture contains large register files. It contains number of registers files, control registers, right? And some general purpose registers and all. But here in the RISC data path of RISC architecture contains a large register file for storing the operands and output. RISC instruction set is designed to operate on registers. RISC architecture supports extensive pipelining. The best example is what we discussed in architecture of ARM7, ARM9, 10, and the 11. Or simply take the programming model of the ARM7 micro. There is a ARM7 processor, right? In the second model that has got huge or the large number of register files, right? Just example. Next, another architecture is the very long instruction word, that is VLIW architecture, implements multiple functional units like ALUs and multipliers, etc. in the data path. Okay, so they have number of ALUs and the multipliers. So very long instruction word. The VLIW instruction packages one standard instruction per functional unit of the data. Next, parallel processing architectures implements multiple concurrent processing elements, and each processing element may associate a data path containing register in the local memory. It is nothing but the multi-core, right? So where multiple processors are present and they parallelly execute the program, and we call them as the processing elements. Okay. On this, the parallel processing architecture, you will have a subject called Advanced Computer Architecture in 7th semester. You are going to study that. And each processing elements may associate a data path containing register in the local path. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸರ್ ಕೂಡ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಒಂದು ಡೇಟಾ ಪಾತ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. A single instruction, multiple data, and the multiple instruction, multiple data. So these are the two kind of architectures in the parallel processing, right? Are example for parallel processing architectures. In SIMD architecture, that is single instruction and multiple data. A single instruction is executed in parallel with the help of the processing element. In the multiple instruction and multiple data, the processing elements of the MIMD architecture execute different instructions at a given point of time. So very simple. So the processing elements are there. They try to execute the same instruction simultaneously, right? But they can give out the different data. The scheduling of the instruction execution and the controlling of each piece is performed through a single controller. The SIMD architecture forms the basis of reconfigurable processor. On the other hand, the processing elements of the MIMD architecture execute different instructions at a given point of time. The MIMD architecture forms the basis of multiprocessor system. So, but here the SIMD forms a reconfigurable processor, but it forms a multiprocessor system, MIMD, right? Yes. Next, third characteristics. So selecting the language, because the language or the software is very important in order to improve the performance of any embedded systems, right? Let's come to that particular point, the selecting the language. A programming language captures a computational model and maps it into the architecture. There is no hard and fast rule to specify which language should be used for capturing this model. A model can be captured using multiple programming languages like the C, C++, C Sharp, Java, etc. for software implementation, and languages like VSDL, System C, Embed C, Verilog, etc. for hardware implementation. Okay, so he says there is no such a specific rule saying we have to use this particular language only, or this particular language for hardware, or this particular language for software. We can use anything like C, C++, C Sharp, Java for software implementation, and for languages like VSTL, okay, very uh, right. So this is the hardware language, and this is Embed C, again the System C, again the Verilog. Verilog comes under VSTL only. Okay, for hardware implementation, we can use other language also. Here he left to include uh, assembly languages, right? C, C++, C Sharp, Java, etc. For software implementation, and languages like VSTL, next System C, Verilog, etc. for hardware implementation, right? So these are used to analyze the hardware part. Next, on the other hand, a single language can be used for capturing a variety of models. Certain languages are good in capturing certain computational model. For example, C++ is a good candidate for capturing an object-oriented model. So, oops, you are studying right. OOC subject. C++ is a good candidate for capturing an object-oriented model. Right. So, next, the only prerequisite in selecting a programming language for capturing a model is that the language should capture the model easily. So very simple sentence, right? So how to select the programming language? Partitioning system requirements into hardware and the software. It may be possible to implement the system requirements in either hardware or the software. It is a tough decision making task to figure out which one to opt. Various hardware software trade-offs are used for making a decision on the hardware software partitioning. So while dividing the embedded system into as hardware and software, there are various models or the decisions or other rules are used, right? So these are the different uh, models in order to select the in order to partition the embedded system, right? Like data flow graph, computational models in the embedded system. Okay, so we'll discuss this in next class. Before that, before we wind up, uh, let me tell very important point. Uh, Thursday onwards, you will be having your first internal assessment as MCQ. MCQ andre multiple choice questions, MCQ, right? So you will be given about 30 questions, and you will be allotted some 30 minutes. Within that 30 minutes, you need to answer the multiple choice questions, and the question is, how do you share the question, right? So we share the questions through Google Classroom or Google Forms, right? A time will be fixed, a time will be allotted. Within that particular allotted time, you need to log in using your email ID. I hope everyone has got your email ID, and you need to answer the questions. Okay, so as soon the time is complete or time elapses, the test will be over. So this is the procedure we have made, and very soon you will get a timetable regarding that. And the portion for my subject is module 3. Keep in mind module 3, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಯೂಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲೇ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಿಜ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ, ಅದು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇವತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ MCQ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಕೀಪಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಯೂಲ್ 3 ಆಸ್ portion, right? So I hope you do well. So next class ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ I will go with the lab program. So 5 programs we have completed, and remaining 3. So 3 will complete, right? right? So any question, any doubt, if you have any doubt, please to ask. Any doubt, message nodi, any doubt, you can message me, you can message me now. Anybody? ಇದೀರಾ? Okay, so one by one I will ask. Abdul, any doubt? ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಡೌಟ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಅಬ್ದುಲ್ ರೆಹಮಾನ್.
मैसेज करा.
Okay. Any doubt? ರಮ್ಯಾ ಆಯ್ತು, ರಚನಾ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಡೌಟ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೇಳಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಮತ್ತೇನಿಲ್ಲ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ರೈಟ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.